Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my Transformers Devastation Magnus Difficulty walkthrough. This is Chapter 2, Proudstar, Part 2. We're fighting some Insecticons. We've got a couple of them turning into the humanoid anthropomorphic form, and we've got a couple that are being crickets. So, whenever the cricket turns its back on you, it's going to immediately kick its legs out. Like that. It's a really easy move to counter, but it's also very fast, so if you get hit in the face with it, I wouldn't be surprised, because it's fast. And this difficulty has an increase in speed that not a lot of people are going to be used to, but you will get used to it, you just have to play. So, endurance goes up to the level 32, which is really fun to see yourself leveling and progressing while you play. It's the little things that make it really enjoyable. That being said, I was on GameFAQs the other day, because I've been looking for people who are playing this game. I've been looking to see what people are discovering, and for the most, note, really. Nobody's discovered more than, say, what I've discovered. And I don't say that as like an egotistical thing. It's just, I'm reading a lot of people that still don't really seem to understand the game. On that forum anyway. And I'm sure that there'll be some people there that, you know, are playing at a much higher level than the ones that are being really vocal, but they're just not leaving threads for me to read. So one of the guy, he was on about how Prime difficulty was easy. Like, it's not too bad, I thought it was going to be much worse. And he went on to say that his character had 99 in every stat, he was using repair kits up the arse, and he had a level 50 weapon. Like, motherfucker, dude. They're the type of people that really bother me, because he's going on this public forum. There is no information at this point about Prime difficulty, so people are really curious, and he's straight up just been like, yeah, it's piece of easy, this, that. He's playing like the biggest fucking bitch. Like, the guy's tried his hardest to do the least amount of work to win that difficulty. And then he's telling other people that it's easy. And I always find that hilarious. Because there's going to be some poor bugger who goes onto Prime with an unleveled up character who doesn't have a very good weapon, who's going to find it super difficult, and he's going to feel bad about himself and his ability to play because this some dude on the internet's told him it was going to be easy, and it's not. But it's actually not too bad. I think a lot of people that are not looking forward to it are probably overthinking it because of this difficulty. Magnus difficulty is the biggest jump. Prime is pretty simple after this. However, the shockwave fight was horrible for me, and the bridge fight was pretty tricky too, because I think the bridge fight is probably the hardest section of the game, just because there's no checkpoint and you have to fight like 4 waves of enemies, and a lot of them have hammers, a lot of them have guns shooting you from off screen. It is a cocktail of failure, and death comes very swift. But a lot of things blowing up here, a lot of pink explosions. I love pink explosions. There's just something about it, dude. It's the whole Gundam wing thing in me. Or Gundams in general, because I think Gundam, was it Seed and Gundam Destiny, they had quite a lot of pink explosions. Because there was that weird singer, it was called like Lacuna or something daft. And she had pink hair. It's been a while since I watched those programs. I didn't much like the new ones either. The Double O Gundam. I really liked the idea and I really liked the design on a lot of the Gundams, but I just felt like that show was really boring. Not a lot happened. Like, I don't know, Gundam is one of those weird things. Some of them are gold. Like, I love Gundam Wing. I absolutely love the, what's the fighting one? Where they all, like, there's a big tournament and they fist fight and everyone's got their own nation and it's like, Burning Finger, or Dirty Tickle, or whatever it is that he does. Which is really inappropriate, but it's hilarious. Like, Shining Finger Blaster! I have no idea. But that was great, even though I watched it a few years ago. But some of them just, no, really not so good, and some of the older ones really hard to get your hands on. But it must be said, this game makes me want Platinum to make a Gundam game, because I just think they'd make a fantastic one. And if they just had a campaign that followed the entire television series of Gundam Wing, I would probably die a happy man. Because as much as the entire program is super political, and I suppose you could kind of call it repetitive, because it's a lot of, you know, coup d'etats and, you know, the mobile dolls and it's a Gundam and all that kind of good stuff. I do love that show. I really do. It was a very influential time in my life, I guess. And I'll never forget it as well, and I'm sure a lot of people have got this same memory, because during the Dragon Ball Z run on, was it Toonami? Between the episodes had adverts, and they were promoting a show that was coming on. And the show was Gundam Wing, and it was the very beginning of the first episode where it does the whole, you know, and it does it, or whatever it does, that weird kind of music, that awesome Gundam Wing music, and all that kind of good stuff. I know this probably sounds nothing like it, but you'll understand what I mean. And it was Hero Yue in the ambulance when Relina Peacecraft comes up to him. And it does the whole, I'll kill you if you've got the uncut version, but in the Toonami version, it does the whole, I'll destroy you, because they can't say kill, and they edited a lot of that from the Japanese, which was fucking stupid. Oh, by the way, folks, there's an achievement for beating this guy without taking damage. The only difficult part about it is not falling off the platform and not getting overzealous by chasing him off the platform. Everything else is simple. This boss is a piece of piss. But that was advertised all the time during the Freezer run on Toonami, so you saw this program even if you wanted to or not, and it was like, I thought it looked like shit. Like, oh yeah, the guy's shooting, very serious, oh, I want to watch Dragon Ball Z. And then I started watching it and I really liked it. And then it got really difficult to watch, because at that time I didn't have Sky in my bedroom, it was downstairs, and it was on at an awkward time where my parents were using the TV, so I had to, you know, fight tooth and nail to watch that program. And then I got a job, and one of the first things I did with my money is I ordered the DVD box sets from HMV, and they were these limited edition things that came with the action figures of the Gundams. And behind me on my shelf I have a row of Gundam Wing action figures, pretty much all the Hero Gundams, along with Epion, and I think that's it. And I think one of them is Wing Zero, which was always my favourite. And I've got the entire TV show and Endless Waltz DVDs sat on my shelf as well. So I love Gundam Wing, I really do. And if they could make a game, Platinum, please make that game. Because this game is wonderful, and I used to love Transformers, but I've not watched it in over 20 years, so a lot of the nostalgia that I'm getting from this is lost on me, because I honestly can't remember what I liked about it, you know, aside from the cool song, which is awesome. Like, I think it's cool, but I've got none of it. You know, if this was He-Man, that might be a bit different, because I can really remember loving He-Man. Like, I can really remember loving Thundercats and really loving Ghostbusters and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but Transformers, I just can't remember it. And it sucks, because it's cool as shit, and it is awesome, but it's not there in my my memory bank. So, right now, I've never been down here before, and I'm curious as to what the hell this is. It is a little bit of a challenge path that leads to a collectible, so you don't have to do this. You can press that button and just lower the rods, or whatever they are, the kind of octagonal rod things. Even though they're not octagons at all, it's a hexagon, isn't it? That 6 sides, I think. Pentagon 5, octagon 6, I don't know, 7. So it's that moment where you're like, what exactly are we doing here? But if you give it time, there you see, there's your collectible. And it unlocks stuff in the art gallery, which is a nice touch. Something that I'm curious about with this game as well, because there's no true last boss, I'm kind of bummed out. I'm also kind of bummed that there's not that many costumes. I got a bunch of pre-order costumes, which makes Optimus bad, and something else. And Bumblebee has like blue arms and things. But I was really looking forward to, you know, I didn't want Michael Bay looking motherfuckers, but did you see what Tetsuya Nomura did with Batman characters? I think it was Batman, wasn't it? He did Catwoman and somebody else. He essentially designed them like he designed things, and he made them look, you know, super his style, but also kind of different and unique. And I thought that was a really, really cool idea. So it would have been nice if Platinum could have designed their own look to a Transformer, even though I suppose in some ways you could call this kind of their own look, even though it's very reminiscent of the Generation 1 Transformers. But this is Bombshell, and Bombshell has hyper armor for days. You do not want to challenge this guy's ability to punch through your moves. Halfway through the fight, he's going to turn into his Scarab Beetle form, and do you see how fast that shit was? So just be aware, whenever his tip glows, he's going to either thrust at you, or shoot at you, so dodge accordingly. And if you're anywhere near that pink goo when it explodes, it's going to take off a good 70% of your life. So be aware that it sucks. And if it hits you, it immobilises you, but you can roll out of it. and then after a while he's going to turn back. He does his AoE, which is very easy to get focus off of. He's glowing gold, which means I can bum him, because it's a prison slang. And then it's just a case of finish him up. But don't get too greedy, because in the middle of that combo he can recover and punch you in the chops, because he's a douche. But did you see that? I hit him with everything, and that was a slow fight. Like, I'm punishing him, brutalizing him, and I didn't even get a speed bonus. The motherfucker never got a chance. And I still, you know, not good enough, Chris. Do better, son. I'm not the biggest fan of these missions. I don't think the aesthetic's bad. I don't think the level design is bad. I just prefer the city. I always will. Even though the city is overused. But in an earlier video I mentioned that they could have had some other areas. I would have really liked to have seen a section where you were jumping between aircraft carriers in the sea and getting attacked by stuff, because I just think that that idea is cool as shit. It reminds me of Army of 2. There's a mission on that game where you're on an aircraft carrier, and at the very end you have to run up it when there's a bunch of boxes coming towards you, and if they touch you, it turns you into like jiggle physics. It's hilarious, and you fall down like an idiot without any strings. I love that game, even though it kind of sucked in a lot of ways. But the co-op I had with Aiden and our times together, singing just the two of us as we opened doors together and we drove around on a hovercraft, you know. They're the times you treasure. But a little bit of platforming here, folks, as Teletran gives us some exposition. And you'll notice there's one of those crazy collectible things down there, but I didn't want to waste your time by gathering it. It was just a mental note so I could pick it up later on. And then a couple of explodables, and then a chest. But it is that funny thing, isn't it? There's Tetsuya Nomura, who is the director of Scalebound, and some would say that he's the A-team of Platinum. Then you have Hashimoto, who did Bayonetta 2, who has worked, of course, quite a lot with Hideki Kamiya. Did I say Tetsuya Nomura just then? I think I fucking did. Ignore me, guys. I've got Japanese names in my face, apparently. But Kamiya is the A-team. Hashimoto, some would say, is the B-team. And then the guy that did this, I think, is it Kaiji Santo? I don't actually know the guy's name, unfortunately, so big apologies to him. He's still a cool dude. And some would call him the B-team as well, because Platinum are a very focused group of developers, and they've got a bunch of creative leads. I wish the level design that makes it into the Hideki Kamiya games made it into the game like this. And if you look at Bayonetta 2, really nice level design. You know, lots of kind of branching paths, up and down moments, things to explore, things to break, secrets here and there, bit of platforming, you know, bit of environmental stuff. Not quite as much as the original Bayonetta 1, not quite as many puzzles and things, not quite as many down moments, but still, you know, diversification. And then there's this game that really doesn't have a lot of it at all. It has it every so often, but for the most, just not any of it. And it comes back to this notion of just how long was the dev cycle for this? How big was the budget? And is that the reason why you can definitely see a limitation in the level and in the scope of what you do in between fighting? Because the fighting is perfect. I love it. It's great. But even then, it's not as detailed or as in-depth as Bayonetta or as Wonderful 101. There's not as many tools, even though there's this whole, you know, RPG element where you can get all these different weapons, but essentially it's just a bunch of different archetypes for you to smack things with. It's the moves that make the weapons, and a lot of them have very similar movesets, so I think it's just a really interesting choice on a lot of levels, and I'm always inquisitive and curious as to why and what motivated the choice. But here is the fight against a bunch of the big Insecticon guys. The good thing about these guys is when they're at a distance they fire that laser that's easy to predict and it's easy to get some focus off, and when he's up close he does melee attacks which you can always get focus off. So this fight looks intimidating, but if you can, you know, keep your focus flowing, you can deal some serious damage, and it's one of my favourite fights in the game. But I'm definitely not doing as much damage as I would like yet. But when we get the, is it Mezazor, I think his name is? He's going to give us an S tier sword, or it might even be an SS tier sword, and that's going to really separate our weapon from the one we're using. So here is the crystal shielding. I'm about to show you a strategy that will get you no damage on this section and get you the achievement. But I'm not going to lie, folks, do not do it on this difficulty. Do it on Commander, you'll have such an easier time. Do it when you've got super good stats and really good weapons, because if you don't, you're going to have to earn it. And I know that's a novel notion, but the checkpoint is, it makes you really, really work for this. And I hate being pushed, and that's exactly what's happening. I hate the geometry moving, and that's exactly what's happening. Like, this is the perfect shitstorm of bullshit that I don't like in game design. Like, right here. Everything about this room is designed to annoy, and don't like it. But you can learn to live with it. You can use it to your advantage in some ways, and my strategy is simple. Get focus however you can, and then kill something. And then as soon as you come out of focus, find whoever's closest to you, and then get focus off of him. But once you kill the first wave, you're going to get the opportunity to smash this. Depending on your ability to do damage will depend on how long this takes. So I use my ultimate just to see the damage. It does decent damage, but it doesn't do as much damage as I would like. I would like that to have been over right there. But second wave. So second wave's not too bad. Get your focus, capitalize on your focus, kill some dudes. So I'm spamming evade quite a lot. Oh shit, this is wrong. This is the wrong video. Sorry guys, I'm completely full of shit. This is not on Prime. I do this on Prime, sorry. This is not no damage. So this is not going to help you get that. This is not a good strategy. Ignore it. This is just going to get you through the game. My bad. Yeah, it's with Bumblebee on Prime. Thinking back, if I'd have tried to do it on this, it would have been easy, because the damage that we just did then as Optimus, if we can get another ultimate attack, you can probably do this on a 2-cycle, which is insane. Because I had to 3-cycle it as Bumblebee, because his ultimate is absolutely shitty. But 2 walkthroughs, very close together. Some things are going to get lost in translation. I do apologise. Here comes the... whatever the hell he just did. We get the focus off him, hit him with the electrical orb. Oh, I just hate the movement in this bit. Ugh, so annoying. Similar to the camera angle, you know, when it goes above you and it turns into Jurassic Park off the SNES. I think it's a cool idea that they do that, but I really don't like those moments because I find it so much harder to dodge things. Even though, you know, visibility-wise, you can kind of see everything. It just doesn't feel right. It triggers my brain in all the wrong ways. So interesting, I didn't even manage to get the cycle. That's bad. So we're going to do an unnecessary extra cycle. Thinking about this, if you have tech that enables your ultimate attack to recharge quicker, that might be really, really good to equip for this moment to make this as easy as possible. But the sword I'm using right now has, I think, about 2,400 damage. The sword we're about to start using has about 4,000 damage. So you're going to see a big improvement, because that sword is a beast. And then what I did with it is, on Prime difficulty, when I got it again, because they give you the same loot for beating bosses, I put the other sword and synthed it into the new version, and it made it almost the same level, but it had an extra 1,000 attacks. It went up to like 5,300, which is really, really good for where you are at that point, especially if you don't have the stats to compensate, which you're not going to see me like brute force my way through this game. I'm going to be a lot of execution heavy, a lot of, you know, taking massive damage, but getting there in the end, because skill will overcome, guys, and that's what you've got to think about. Thank you very much for watching. You take care now.